If you've been playing Keep on Mining Worlds for a while, you probably think you already understand the game. You mine, you build, you expand. Simple, right? Wrong. As I played, I started noticing things that took me a while to grasp. Details that make a huge difference, and that honestly, I wish I had known sooner. That's why today I'm bringing you 10 tips that aren't just the basics you find in the tutorial. These are the things that actually change how you play, the kind of stuff that makes you stop mid-session and think, wait, I didn't know I could do that. So let's get into it. The skill tree is one of the most impressive parts of the game, and also one of the easiest to use incorrectly. There are over 200 nodes available, and when you open this tree for the first time, it feels like you don't know where to start. In the beginning, you invest in what seems most urgent, and that's fine. But once the mid-game arrives, you need to completely shift the focus of your choices. In the middle of the game, your skill tree priority should be one thing: nodes that increase the spawn frequency of rare ores. It sounds too specific, but it makes perfect sense once you understand the chain it creates. Rare ores are exactly what you need to craft elite pickaxes, and elite pickaxes are what unlock the next stages of progression significantly. The logic is direct. More rare ore spawns mean you reach the necessary materials much faster than farming at a normal pace. Instead of waiting for luck to give you what you need, you are actively increasing the chances that each mining session produces exactly the resources that make a difference. It's one of the most efficient ways to compress progression time in the mid-game. So when you open the skill tree at this stage, ignore the temptation to spread points across everything that looks interesting and look for the rare ore spawn nodes with intention. Focus on them, stack those upgrades, and watch the speed at which your elite pickaxes start to appear. With over 200 options available, having a clear goal in the tree is what separates those who progress fast from those who just keep running in circles. When you unlock a new world, one of the first things that appear are talent cards. And I know exactly what you'll want to do. Grab everything that looks powerful, stack talent upon talent, and go mining with everything unlocked. I did that, and I almost completely stalled my progress because of it. The problem is that every talent card you pick increases the global HP of the rocks in that world. It sounds like a fair trade-off, right? But some talents increase this HP so drastically that your rocks literally become indestructible walls. You get stuck without resources, unable to advance, and then you realize you made a decision that isn't easy to undo. The golden rule here is simple. Only take talents that are actually worth the cost. The ones I safely recommend are Potion Drinker, Potion Chugger, Double Drop, and anything that reduces rock durability. These offer real utility bonuses without turning every stone on the map into an RPG boss. Everything else you need to evaluate very carefully before confirming. So next time a new talent card pops up, stop for a second before clicking, read what it does, think about the impact on rock HP, and ask yourself if the bonus it offers truly compensates for the extra work of mining. This decision seems small at first, but it will define whether your world will flow or completely stall later on. One of the most common traps is the temptation to craft every available pickaxe as you unlock them. It seems like the natural path, right? Build one by one, moving up the tiers slowly without skipping anything. But this is exactly the kind of decision that feels right but slows you down much more than you imagine. The logic behind strategic upgrades is simple. Some specific resources like cobalt and iron are the key to skipping intermediate pickaxes and going straight to high-tier tools. When you understand which materials lead you to the best pickaxes faster, you stop wasting time and resources building equipment that will become obsolete in a few minutes of play. The goal is to reach the Stonebreaker and the Dagger pickaxe as early as possible. These higher tier pickaxes have such a massive performance gap compared to the intermediate ones that the time you saved by building every tier along the way ends up being much longer than the time spent farming the right resources. It's counterintuitive, but focusing on fewer pickaxes makes you progress faster. So before you start crafting everything that appears, take a look at the requirements for the high-tier pickaxes and see which resources you need to stack to skip straight to them. Save your materials with intention, resist the urge to spend everything on what's available now, and when you equip that high-tier pickaxe earlier than expected, you'll understand exactly why this tip changes everything. So, let me tell you something that completely changed how I play Keep on Mining Worlds. And seriously, I wish I'd discovered this from the start. At the beginning of every new world, your natural instinct is to focus on speed, right? Upgrade mining speed, dig deeper, break more rocks. It feels productive, it feels efficient. But trust me, this is one of the slowest ways to grow your economy in this game. The right move is to prioritize ore value, gem value, and multiplier upgrades in the skill tree before anything else. When you increase the base value of what you're mining, every rock you break is worth much more. You're not working harder, you're working smarter. And in an incremental game, that difference changes everything. Do you know why this snowballs so fast? Imagine you're getting double the resources per ore right at the start. This means you hit every upgrade threshold faster, which accelerates your economy ahead of schedule, which brings the next upgrade even sooner. It's a self-feeding cycle. Speed upgrades are good, but they only affect how fast you mine. Value upgrades affect everything you earn from that moment on. So the next time you start a new world, resist the urge to go full speed mode. Open the skill tree, stack the value and multiplier nodes first, and then layer on the speed upgrades once your economy is already humming. You'll feel the difference almost immediately, and once you see how fast things start moving, you won't want to go back to the old way. There's something I used to ignore completely, and it makes an absurd difference in the amount of resources you get per session. I'm talking about the synergy between potions and talents. It sounds simple, it sounds obvious, but most players don't use it intentionally, and they end up leaving a massive multiplier on the table every time they start mining. It works like this. Certain talents grant extra bonuses when you have active potions at the start of a mining session. This means potions aren't just a temporary boost, they are the key to activating multiplier effects that scale everything you collect. When these bonuses combine, the resource output from a single session is completely different from what you would get without them. The two talents you need to have on your radar are Potion Drinker and Potion Chugger. Potion Drinker gives you a free potion right at the start, which already ensures the multiplier kicks in without you spending a thing. Potion Chugger goes further. It automatically activates all 4 potions at the start of the session. When both are active together, the effect is ridiculously powerful. Your economy simply takes off. So the habit you need to build is simple. Before starting any serious mining session, check if your potions are active. Don't start mining without them. This routine seems small, but over several worlds, it represents a massive amount of accumulated resources. It's one of the easiest adjustments you can make to your game, and the return is immediate. There's an upgrade that seems simple at first glance, but hides a much deeper mechanic than most players realize. I'm talking about mining area size. Most people increase the area just to have more rocks visible on the screen, as if it were only a matter of visual comfort. But it's not. It's far from just that. What actually happens when you expand your area is that you're increasing the available space for auto pickaxes to spawn and work at the same time. These pickaxes appear within your hover area, and the larger that area, the more of them can be active in breaking rocks simultaneously. It's basically an automated work multiplier that you unlock without having to do anything other than expanding the space. Think about the logic. If you have a small area, maybe 2 or 3 auto pickaxes can operate at the same time. Expand that area and suddenly you have 5, 6, 7 working in parallel. The volume of resources coming in per minute scales incredibly with this. It's one of the most powerful automation levers in the game, and most people don't even know they're ignoring it. So when you're distributing your resources, don't underestimate area upgrades, thinking they are less important than speed or ore value. A large area means more active auto pickaxes, and more active pickaxes mean the game is literally playing for you while you focus on other decisions. The sooner you understand this, the faster your progress will snowball. Gems are a resource that seems abundant at first, but becomes increasingly valuable as you advance through worlds. And that's exactly why how you spend your gems in the early worlds will define how strong you are when you reach the harder ones. I learned this the most frustrating way possible, spending them on things that simply disappeared without a trace. The rule is clear and has no exceptions. Gems should only be spent on pickaxes and shop items. These are the only permanent upgrades in the game, meaning they stay with you regardless of which world you are in. As the worlds get harder, these upgrades scale with the challenge, giving you a cumulative advantage that only grows over time. It's the kind of investment that pays for itself dozens of times over the course of the game. The problem with temporary spending is that it gives you an immediate sense of progress that vanishes as soon as the session ends. You feel like you're moving forward, but in practice, you're building on a foundation that disappears. It's like renting equipment instead of buying it. It works for a moment, but it doesn't actually make you stronger. So every time you gather a good amount of gems, stop before spending and ask, will this upgrade stay with me? If the answer is no, save them. It might feel like you're holding onto resources for no reason, but when you reach the advanced worlds with fully upgraded pickaxes and shop items, you'll understand that every gem you didn't waste was a decision that was well worth it. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that moving to the next world without fully exploring the current one is a mistake you'll feel personally very soon. Artifacts are the reason. They are scattered across every world waiting to be found, and most players rush past without realizing what they're leaving behind. What artifacts offer isn't a cosmetic bonus or a marginal improvement. We're talking about passive bonuses that directly affect your mining efficiency. Rock durability reduction, overall stat increases, improvements that scale with everything you've built up to that point. These are effects that stay with you and make every subsequent world significantly more manageable. The impact is clearest when you compare two situations: entering a new world with all the artifacts from the previous one collected versus entering without them. The difference in difficulty is real and noticeable from the first few minutes. Rocks break faster, resources come in more easily, and that feeling of stalling at the beginning of a new world simply disappears. So before buying the next world, sweep the current one from end to end. Don't advance until you're sure you've grabbed every available artifact. It might feel like you're wasting time exploring instead of progressing, but you're actually building a foundation that will make the difficulty transition much smoother. An artifact left behind is an advantage you're giving up for free. When I started playing, I spent a good while clicking frantically on rocks thinking that was how the game worked. My fingers got tired, my patience wore thin, and in the end, I discovered I was playing in a completely unnecessary. The game has a much smarter mining system than it seems, and it's available from the start. Hover mining is exactly what the name implies. You don't need to click anything, just position the cursor over the rocks, and mining happens automatically. But the most important part isn't just the convenience. It's that hovering is what makes the auto pickaxes spawn within your area. Without the cursor correctly positioned, these pickaxes simply won't appear, and you lose all the automation the game offers. This completely changes the dynamic of how you play. Instead of focusing all your attention on the act of breaking rocks, you free your mind to manage upgrades, evaluate the skill tree, check resources, and make strategic decisions in real time while the mining happens on its own. It's a game within a game. The mining runs itself while you think about the next move. And look, there's a factor that seems small but makes a real difference. It's much more relaxing. Long incremental sessions get exhausting when you're clicking nonstop. With hovering, you can spend hours managing your economy without feeling that burnout. So if you're still in frantic click mode, stop now, position the cursor, and let the game work for you. Buying a new world is always an exciting moment. You've gathered the talent points, you're ready to advance, and the feeling of opening a new level is genuinely satisfying. But there's a mistake I see happening all the time, including to myself the first few times. Arriving in a new world completely unprepared and stalling at the very first rocks. The problem is that every new world is harder than the last, and the starting rocks already come with much more HP than you're used to. If you don't have area and damage upgrades ready before you enter, those first rocks will trap you in a frustrating loop where you hit and break nothing. The rhythm vanishes, progression stalls, and what should have been a moment of advancement becomes an unnecessary bottleneck. The solution is simple, but requires discipline. Before spending your talent points on the new world, prepare the skill tree first. Ensure you have area and damage upgrades already lined up for the first levels of the new environment. These two attributes together determine whether you'll enter the new world flying or crawling from the start. Think of it this way. You are essentially making a transition, and every good transition requires preparation. It's not about holding back progress. It's about ensuring that when you take that step, the ground is already ready to receive you. Spend 5 minutes organizing your skill tree before confirming the new world, and the difference in progression pace will be immediate and very noticeable.